Hello, class, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing on the latest as usual. We start with this report claiming that Barca summer signing Franck Kessie wants to leave Barcelona in January, has offered himself to Serie A clubs. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then to conclude, talking about this Newcastle midfielder by name Bruno Guimaraes, it has been reported that Barca identified the player as one of the ideal replacements for Sergio Busquets. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, before we get right into it, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch right up to the very end. Barcelona made a ton of signings in the summer transfer window, the first of which came in the form of Franck Kessie. The Ivorian signed with Barcelona on a Bosman move after negotiations to acquire him started in January on Xavi's request. However, his time at Barcelona so far has been far from ideal. He is fifth in the pecking order in midfield behind Pedri, Sergio Busquets, Gavi and Frenkie de Jong. He has played 7 games in La Liga this season, starting just 2 for further contest, and when he has played, Kessie has left a lot to be desired, often finding it next to impossible to fit in. As such, report from Casio Mercato suggests that the midfielder wants to leave Barca in January. He has, as the news suggests, offered his services to a few clubs in Italy, including his former club AC Milan. However, across the last fortnight has suggested that the 25-year-old was not pleased with his situation, but was confident that he would become important to Xavi and the team soon enough. With Pablo Torre in the wrong behind him, it remains to be seen if Barcelona do indeed go for another midfielder in the event that Franck Kessie ends up leaving the club. As it stands, Barcelona are dependent on his services mostly quantitatively. Not to forget, he is among the few players from the team who will not travel to Qatar for the World Cup and will be fresher than before. Franck Kessie is facing, I think, arguably one of his worst seasons in his footballing career. Of course, this season has been a very bad one for him. Game time has been hard to come by. He came on as a free transfer, and it still baffles me that it's under the request of Xavi. But the way Xavi has been using him is as though he was not the one who told Barca to buy Franck Kessie. Of course, as one of the main players for AC Milan last season, of course, who greatly helped them to win the Serie A, it is understandable that Franck Kessie can't be happy with the situation that he is currently facing at Barca. He's a top player. He's a top player, definitely. And Xavi does not fancy him. When Xavi puts him, it's just to rest other players. That's just it. I don't see Xavi putting him because there's any tactical stuff that Xavi wants to improve by putting him. And the player is not that happy. And I can understand that. So this report is claiming that the player wants to leave in January. I don't think that is the case. Honestly speaking, I don't think Franck Kessie will consider doing that, to be honest. That tells you a lot about the frustration that Franck Kessie is going through at Barcelona. I don't think Franck Kessie himself, in fact, I don't think nobody expected this, like the level of how he has been ignored. Not like he's coming like a bench player elsewhere. He was one of the main guys in AC Milan last season who helped them to win the Scudetto. So it just baffles me sometimes how he has been sparsely used by Xavi. But let's see. But the truth is, even sometimes when Franck Kessie plays, you don't see something exceptional. I don't know if because he's not that happy or he's playing with sadness. Because Franck Kessie, even the few minutes that Xavi has given him, there's nothing that spectacular that you see from him. I don't know if he needs but manager's trust or to be putting him regularly before he improves his performance. I don't still know. But the report of him leaving January or wanting to leave in January, I don't believe Franck Kessie will consider such. So let's see how it goes for Franck Kessie. Because if Xavi continues like this, it's gonna be devastating. It's going to be really devastating. He came as a free transfer. I think that one Barca cannot say they are losing money or they are regretting whatever. But at least he came as a free. Barca did not spend a penny on him. So let's see if Xavi will improve on his playing time. After the World Cup, of course, he will be one of the freshest players in that pitch in Barca because his country, Ivory Coast, did not qualify for the FIFA World Cup. So he's one of those players who will be rested, who will stay in the house without playing for a long time. So when the league resumes, he will be one of the freshest players without fatigue. Then moving on to the next story of discussion, there is no secret that Barcelona are in the market for a defensive midfielder, with veteran star Sergio Busquets struggling with form and prominence. The club are in desperate need for a proper long-term replacement. According to a report relayed by Dario Sport, Barcelona appear to have already found their top target in the form of Bruno Guimaraes. The Newcastle United superstar has emerged as the club's desired option to replace Busquets for the long term, thanks to his attractive player profile. Indeed, Guimaraes has become one of the Premier League's most highly rated midfielders. Following his move to Newcastle United at the start of the year, he has established himself as the heart of the Newcastle's second line of press, showcasing immense technical quality and creative prowess. Guimaraes' performance have not gone unnoticed, with Barcelona now exploring the possibility of signing him in the near future. The report suggests that the Catalans have already begun negotiations over the potential move for Guimaraes. The player's representative, Joan-Vini Bartolucci, is a well-known figure within the realms at Barca, as the Brazilian had carried out operations for Philippe Coutinho and Neto in the past. However, luring the former Lyon started away from Tennesside will be a challenge. Newcastle United, after all, had only signed the player in January for a fortune, and given the impact he has made, the new owners have no intention of selling him off just yet. Even if the Magpies plan to offload Guimaraes in the near future, the Brazilian international is set to cost a fortune. His value could only increase after the end of the upcoming FIFA World Cup, meaning the midfielder remains an unattainable target for Barcelona, at least for the time being. So another new name when it comes to potential replacements for Sergio Busquets. Guimaraes has been a quality player this season for Newcastle. This is not the first time I've been talking about this guy. Before his move to Newcastle United, Barca were strongly linked with him, but they were not serious. Newcastle went for him in the January transfer window earlier this year. So let's see actually if Barca will succeed, but the move will not be as easy as it seems, as he's a quality player, one of the most valued players at Newcastle. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.